A country of 140 million people just changed its law. Yesterday, Russia's parliament passed a bill that makes crypto legal for cross-border trade. And get this, it's still banned for buying a coffee inside the country. Legal to move value across borders, illegal at home. Read that twice, because that's not a crypto law. That's a settlement law. And here's what nobody is connecting. Russia didn't say the word XRP. Neither did Japan. Neither did the US and the UK last week. They just went and legalized the exact job XRP was engineered to do. That's not a headline. That's a pattern. And patterns are worth a whole lot more than headlines. Now, while all of that was happening, XRP quietly stopped being a one-chain asset. It can flow into more than 80 different blockchains now, with every transaction over there burning XRP as fuel. And no, that's not a roadmap promise. That's been live. So let me save you the nonsense right up front. Nobody went all in on XRP this week. That headline is fake. But the real story, it's honestly bigger. Let me show you. Let's dig in. Real quick, from me to you. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice, and I'll be straight with you all the way through. I'll tell you what actually happened, and I'll tell you what people are pretending happened. Those are two different things, and you deserve both. Never risk what you can't afford to lose, and always do your own research. Cool? All right, let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Crypto with BHW, where we tell it to you straight with heart. Grab your coffee, get comfy, because there's a global pattern forming right now, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Let's go. All right, let's start with what actually happened, because the details here are wild. On July 21st, yesterday, Russia's State Duma passed a bill called On Digital Currency and Digital Rights through its second and third readings. That's the heavy lifting done. Now it goes to the Federation Council and then to President Putin's desk for a signature. And for government-backed legislation in Russia, those steps are usually formalities. So what does the law actually say? 3 things, and each one matters. 1. Crypto is now legally recognized as property, not legal tender, property. That means it gets judicial protection. If you hold it, the courts recognize it. That's a real legal upgrade from a gray zone. 2, and this is the big one, companies can now use crypto for cross-border settlements, foreign trade, international payments, all types of cryptocurrencies and stablecoins are on the table for that. And 3, here's the part that made me sit up. Domestic payments stay banned. You cannot buy a sandwich in Moscow with crypto. The ruble is still the only lawful currency at home. Now think about what that combination is actually saying. Russia looked at this technology and said, we don't want it competing with our currency, but we absolutely want it moving value across our borders. They didn't legalize crypto as money. They legalized crypto as rails, as plumbing, as a settlement layer. Main provisions kick in September 1st, with a transition period running to July 1st of 2027, and everything flowing through intermediaries licensed by the Bank of Russia. This is a real, structured framework, not a press release. But hold on, before you go celebrating Russia adopted XRP, because I've already seen those thumbnails, I need to give you the honest part. And I promise, the honest version is still good news. Let me explain. Okay, deep breath. This is where I keep it 100 with you, because you deserve better than hype. Russia did not adopt XRP. Let me say that clearly so nobody gets burned. There's a study floating around, an academic paper analyzing blockchain in the digital economy, which specifically discusses XRP's potential as a payment currency bridge. And it's real and it's genuinely interesting that XRP got named. But a research paper is not a law. It's not a regulatory green light. It's not adoption. Anybody telling you Russia went all in on XRP is either confused or selling you something. And there's another practical wall. Because of sanctions, Ripple as a company can't just go do business with Russia. That's the reality. Now, the XRP ledger itself is open source, so technically anyone anywhere can build on it without asking Ripple's permission. But let's not pretend that's a partnership announcement. It isn't. So why am I still smiling? Why is this still genuinely bullish? Because here's the thing that matters more than any single country's adoption. When a major economy writes into law that its future is cross-border digital settlement, it's validating the entire category. It's saying, This is how international value is going to move now. And every time a country makes that call, the demand for a fast, neutral bridge asset gets a little more real. Not because they named XRP, because they described the exact problem XRP exists to solve. Adoption headlines come and go, legal frameworks stick around for decades, and this one's pointing our direction. And that brings me to the thing that gave me actual chills this week. Because Russia isn't alone. Not even close. Let me show you the pattern, and once you see it, you'll never look at these headlines the same way. Alright, zoom out with me, way out, and watch what's happened in just the last few weeks. Russia legalizes crypto specifically for cross-border settlement. Japan reclassifies crypto, XRP included, as a real financial asset, same legal shelf as stocks and bonds. The US and the UK publish a joint roadmap to align on stablecoins and tokenized assets moving between them. And back in the US, the Clarity Act is grinding toward a Senate vote to finally settle the security versus commodity question. 4 of the biggest economic blocs on the planet, same few weeks. Now, what's the common thread? Not one of them announced, "We're buying XRP," not one. But every single one of them is building the legal machinery for value moving across borders on a blockchain. Quick one before we go deeper. Did you know Russia's new law lets crypto cross borders but still bans it at home? Most people miss that detail entirely. Type yes or no in the comments. I really want to see. So here's the reframe I want to leave you with, and it's the heart of this whole video. Stop waiting for a country to say XRP. That's the wrong thing to watch. Watch whether the world is building the road XRP was designed to drive on. Because a coin can't be adopted into a system that doesn't legally exist yet. First, you legalize the category, then the assets that serve that category get picked. And right now, in real time, the world is legalizing the category every single month. That's the pattern. And XRP, an asset built from day one to be a fast, neutral bridge between currencies, is sitting exactly where that road is being paved. That's not hype, that's just where the map is pointing. And here's the part that makes it even better. While the politicians were writing laws, the builders weren't sitting around waiting. XRP itself quietly changed, and almost nobody in this community noticed. Let me show you. Okay, this is the part that genuinely surprised me when I dug in, so let me break it down simply. For most of its life, XRP lived in one place, the XRP ledger, incredibly reliable, but its own island. Meanwhile, most of the smart contract world, all that DeFi activity, was happening over in Ethereum-style environments. 2 separate worlds. That wall came down. There's now something called the XRPL EVM Sidechain, a parallel chain connected to the XRP ledger that speaks Ethereum's language. Developers can port over Ethereum-style apps and smart contracts. And here's the key detail. It uses wrapped XRP as its native gas token, meaning every transaction on that chain, every smart contract that runs, is fueled by XRP. It connects through a bridge called Axelar, which links to more than 80 blockchains. And Ripple's own CTO, David Schwartz, framed it as extending what the ecosystem can do without changing the fundamentals that make the XRP ledger reliable. Now, here's where a lot of channels get it wrong, and I want you to have this right. Some are covering this like it's about to launch. Coming soon, big announcement. Nope, this went live on mainnet back in June of 2025. It's been running. It's already had multiple upgrades since. So this isn't a promise you have to wait on. It's infrastructure that already exists and keeps maturing. And why does that actually matter for XRP holders? 2 reasons. First, demand. If XRP is the fuel for an entire smart contract ecosystem, then network activity creates real, structural demand for it, the same way Ethereum's activity underpins ETH. Second, supply. Every XRP bridged over to that sidechain is locked on the main ledger while it's over there. Locked supply is supply that isn't for sale, and XRP stops being just the payments coin and becomes a programmable asset that can travel across dozens of ecosystems. The politicians build the roads. The developers build the engine. Both are happening at once, and hardly anyone's connecting them. So let's bring it all the way home. What do you actually do with all of this? Let's put the honest scorecard on the table. All right, let me give it to you straight, the way I'd tell a friend across the table. First, the honest scorecard. Russia legalizing crypto for cross-border trade? Real. Passed yesterday. Russia adopting XRP? Not real. That's a research paper, not a law, and sanctions make direct Ripple involvement a non-starter for now. XRP running as gas across a multi-chain ecosystem? Very real, and already live. Some bank flipping a switch and going all in on XRP this week? Didn't happen. Anybody with a fake tweet in their thumbnail is hoping you won't check. And here's one more real signal worth watching: the institutional plumbing. A Ripple executive made a point this week that stuck with me. For banks entering crypto, custody is step one. Not trading, not speculation. Custody. Getting the safekeeping right with a partner that has bank-grade infrastructure. Because once a bank has custody solved, everything else stacks on top. Stablecoins, cross-border payments, tokenized money market funds. And Ripple has spent years building every one of those layers. Meanwhile, in Japan, Ripple and its longtime partner SBI are sitting inside an industry alliance that's actually pushing for a US-Japan regulatory sandbox. Again, a seat at the table where the rules get written. So what do you actually do with all this? You change what you're watching. Stop refreshing for the magic headline that says, "Country X adopts XRP." That's not how this works, and waiting for it will just make you miserable. Instead, watch the category. Watch which economies legalize cross-border digital settlement. Watch whether the Clarity Act lands. Watch the sidechain activity grow. Those are the real dominoes, and they're falling steadily, quietly, whether the price moves this week or not. And zoom out one last time with me. A couple of years ago, people wondered whether XRP would even survive a courtroom. Now, Russia, Japan, the US, the UK are all writing laws for cross-border digital value, the exact lane XRP was built for. And XRP itself has quietly become a multi-chain asset while everyone stared at a chart. We're early. The roads are being paved. The engine's already running. That arc only points one direction over the long run. The pain doesn't last forever. It never does. So here's where I'll leave you, fam. One law in Russia, one pattern across 4 economies, one asset already running on 80 chains, and a community that reads the facts instead of the fake tweets. Whatever these next few months bring, green or red, we walk through it together. Clear eyes, steady hands, because that's what we do here. If this connected some dots for you, do me a favor. Drop your honest thoughts below. Did you know about the multi-chain thing? I read every single comment. This has been Crypto with BHW, where we tell it straight with heart. Stay ready, stay hopeful, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.